I'm going to be selling my M3 and I need your help. I would guess that a good chunk of you didn't even know that I have an M3 because I haven't made any long form videos about it yet. And that's because my M3 is in storage and I should be taking it out of storage soon. But that's because I know once I finish the things I want to do to it this year, that's probably the end of the road for it. So if you're not familiar with what my M3 is, it was my first M car. It's an E36 M3 in Storal Blue. It's a convertible, which I love since my summer cruiser was my first M car. And when I got it, it was auto, and I manual swapped it, which was a bit of a pain to do, but well worth it. Completely transformed the driving experience. For the most part, I've kept my M3 pretty stock. I focus much of my time on maintaining it, restoring it. It's definitely, I'd say, a driver quality example, which is part of why I love driving it so much. I don't really have to worry about it. I have installed a few mods on it, nothing crazy, a Dynon strut tower brace, and a Turner Motorsports sway bar, and a UUC Corsa catback. And that's really about it. I have a handful of other mods that I want to do to the car this year that I have ready to go on. One of which is a Dynon intake, which I think is going to both look great and sound awesome. I have a set of Vaders to go in there, which I think are some of the coolest factory seats of all time. I'm still a little undecided on what color I'm going to do them in. A lot of my interior needs to be redone, so at that point, if I'm doing the front seats, might as well do the back. In addition to the Vaders, I also have a set of throwing stars to put on there, which is one of my favorite BMW wheels of all time, and I think they're going to look incredible on there. And if you didn't catch one of my last videos, I'm actually getting a set of throwing stars made for my M2, so that way they could be twins. But once I go through all of these mods for the M3, I don't see much more of a path forward for it. This is the car that I started making content with, so it does have a bit of sentimental value to me, but I think in terms of growing the channel, I need to start looking for the next thing. And that's where you guys come in. If I sell the M3, what do I get next? That's the $1 million question. Or maybe I should say around $10,000 question. So as I mentioned, I started making content with my M3, and then I got my M2, which I'm in right now. And I think it might be time where I try out something else besides a BMW. I've only owned BMWs my whole life. I had an E46, an E92, then my E36, and now my F87. And I think getting a car that isn't a BMW will help me grow my viewers. Not everyone's interested in BMWs. I don't understand why they wouldn't be, but that's just the reality of it. So I want you guys to let me know in the comments, what car should I get next? Around that $10,000 range or so. I think some options that I might be able to find there would be things like a C5 Corvette, a 350 or maybe a 370Z if it's got a lot more miles on it. I know I said I wouldn't get another BMW, but I always like to have a little more of a classic car on hand. So I'd be lying if I said that I wasn't looking at some E24s as a possible replacement. And whatever the car is, it needs to have a manual option because I signed a contract with my friends where I will owe them a trip to Vegas if I buy an automatic car. So I don't want to buy them a trip to Vegas. I almost had to with my M3, but then I swapped it. And if you're thinking about a car that is also in that price range that I didn't mention, also let me know in the comments because I'm probably forgetting a lot of good options. As far as my taste goes, I really like smaller cars, hence why I have an E36 M3 and an M2, but I wouldn't say that I would count anything out. My M2 is my daily driver and will remain my daily driver, so whatever this car is could be just a fun car. And if you guys want to see any specific videos on my E36 M3, make sure to let me know now. I don't think I'll be selling it for probably another year or so, but that way I can make sure to make the videos that you guys want to see before I get rid of the car. Or maybe you guys even want me to keep the E36 M3. But from what I've seen based on other creators on this platform that have gone to an E36 M3, their videos just don't do as well. Especially if you're in the US, which I kind of get because, you know, it's a bit of a watered down M3 at the end of the day. It's only 35 degrees here and I'm on snow tires, but you know what they say, an Italian tune-up a day keeps the carbon away. Oh, and another thing on this next car, I think I would like to keep it naturally aspirated. I really like having both a turbocharged and a naturally aspirated car. The throttle response, the feel of the car can all be very different between the two, and I really enjoy that. The M3 feels like such more of a bare bones, raw experience compared to the M2, and that's a lot of its charm because it's not that fast. And I'd be completely open to getting a project car as well, as long as it's not too far gone. I'm not Matt Armstrong, I'm not a mechanic, I'm not a body guy, but I think I could get the job done for most of them. It's definitely exciting to think about what car could be next, but also kind of sad. I know I'm going to miss the M3 when I sell it. I don't know if I've ever had another car that gives me quite as much joy as that car, and part of that's because it's just my summer cruiser, so I only get to enjoy it open top during nice weather, but that car can instantly change my mood. And I think it is so cool to own an older car. It's like owning a piece of history. It's fascinating to see what these German engineers were doing and how they were building cars back around the time that I was born. But I would like to have a conversation with them about the interior quality on the E36. They were doing something right when it came to all the mechanicals. I mean, these cars run forever. Yeah, the cooling system needs to be replaced, but I see so many E36 M3s, 200 plus K miles. I think mine's only at 130,000 or so she's just getting started too. The older cars are also so much simpler to work on. There's almost nothing in your way in the engine bay. A lot less computers in the car makes it much easier to troubleshoot, and that also keeps the cars lighter, but I would say, mine being a convertible, it's still pretty heavy. I think it's actually pretty close to what my M2 weighs, believe it or not, which is around 3,400 pounds. And if you're on the other side of the pond, I don't know what that translates to for kg. Well, I'm about to pull up to my work, so I think that's going to be it for this video. Thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed it, make sure to drop a like on the video. It really helps out the channel. And if you want to make sure you see what the next car is, make sure you sub so you don't miss it. Peace.